Storytelling. One of the absolute best ways to improve your artwork. Today I'm going to be doing a demonstration on how to use storytelling. Yesterday I was doing a practice piece. I was just working on sketching and painting, and more than anything working with OBS and trying to figure out live streaming. I was happy with it. I liked the direction it was going. However, the whole time that I was working on it, I kept saying out loud to myself, like, who is she? What is she thinking about? Why is she just sitting there? The environment around her didn't offer any clues, no expression to her face, very neutral. I took her out of that environment, but I didn't improve on the environment. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know the story behind her. I didn't know what she was thinking. I didn't know what she was feeling when I was painting this. All of those questions, they have everything to do with storytelling. What is it exactly that storytelling brings? Well, it does create the emotional response that somebody has towards your work. And if it resonates and makes them pause and dig into the detail, then you're doing something really well. And so what I wanted to do today is just take this piece of work that I have here, break it down, and reimagine it. Without doing anything to her facial expression, if you just change the environment around her, you can entirely change the story that's being told. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take her and I'm going to remove the grass. And now she's just sitting against a sky environment. And we're going to create a new environment around her. And now I'm going to start answering the questions. She's got a certain expression on her face. Why does she have that expression on her face? Is she intrigued and interested? Is she disinterested? Is she bored? Is she sad? What is it that she's doing while she's sitting here? And there's things that you can do, like changing the facial expression. But if you don't do anything but just change her environment, you can do really cool things to change that story. I'm just using my own experience and things that I love in my life, and I'm going to tell a story of a girl who's interested in nature. I think that's why I put her in a field in the first place. I can see myself sitting out in the field in a sunset. There's got to be something maybe down that she's looking at. Maybe she's sitting on a bench. Maybe she's sitting on the edge of a dock and looking out into the water. I've done that many times on a nice summer night, sat on the edge of a dock, and the water is rippling below, and you're just kind of looking into the water and seeing the light, and maybe there's insects or something dancing on the surface of the pond. There's things you can do to change how she's sitting in this environment, because maybe you're too close and you're going to see too much up close. So if she was like this, you're inviting more context. You're now going to be able to create the background with more detail. Now I'm going to imagine her sitting on a rock. Let's do this. I'll let you see me work in here. I'm going to do this very painterly. I'm not even going to really worry about properly sketching this out. We're just going to paint this and see what happens. And this is something I've done. I've gone out on a beautiful night, crawled onto a nearby or a rock that was within jumping distance from the shore. We'll add color and dimension to this as we go, but just to start. Okay. I still don't know the story about what she's looking at, but in my mind, this already makes sense, right? She's sitting out there. She's on a beautiful rock. The evening light is dancing on the clouds, on the water, that is. We've given a whole lot more context, meaning, reason to all of it. And that's what you're going for, right? Or wanting to tell that story. And the meaning behind this now begins to develop. I'm not going to get into all the detail of it because it's not why we're here. This isn't meant to be an exercise of perfecting the painting. We're doing storytelling. So you can see if I began to really work on this painting, it's just going to start to spring to life. And now you're getting a picture of maybe who this girl is. She's a dreamer, maybe. She's having a moment of time alone, away from the day. Maybe she is sad. Maybe she's seeing something, and that's where I could take this further. And I could draw something in the water. Maybe there's a fish. Maybe there is a lily pad. You get the idea of the water. I'm not gonna. It's hard to not really dig into the detail. But you see, just in a very, very short time, we took a painting that lacked all kinds of depth and meaning. We injected a story. See? Storytelling. Pretty cool. The directions that you can go with things like this. What else can you do in a picture like this? You see how, so to recap, we changed the size of her. Originally, she would have been this size. Let's actually let's see how she fits in this environment. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with her being big like that and fitting into that environment. A little bit of adjustment. She probably fits a little bit better here. What else can we do? You know, I'm going to add a little bit of cloud. I could change, actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to completely alter the color. So we can see the time of day here. There's a certain time of day that it clearly was. What if we change that up? I'm adding some color layering and whatnot. Story completely changes just by changing the color. You've changed the mood. You've changed, is it a positive? Is it a sad? Don't know. So you can imagine now taking and putting this in a whole different environment. Put her on a park bench. I kind of like this color palette as well. Okay, so let's do something different yet again. I'm going to save everything I did here, so I have a record of it. We're gonna keep her on the rock. Why not? We're going to keep her on the rock, but what we're going to do we're going to go back to a happier mood. And what I'm also going to, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to a happier mood, but I'm going to do some stuff to this rock again. I'm going to introduce a little bit more light. We're going to amp up the happy. We're going to do kind of the opposite. And then I'm going to change her facial expression, even just a slight little bit. We're going to see the impact that that has. What will it do to change her facial expression? So let's make the light really pop in, around, and behind her. Again, another modification, you see the light is really bouncing. Light has a big impact on mood in a painting. And we'll drop this behind the rock a little bit. And we'll make it really make that sing. So you can see it's like the sun is a lot lower behind her. You can't help but make that feel a little bit brighter. But now let's take a look at her facial expression. So we've got her here. Got her here. Okay, let's What I'm going to do is I'm going to take her eyes out. Sorry, sounds terrible. Outline. All right. Facial expression is so important to storytelling. You can completely change the mood and the feeling by just doing a simple thing like changing the direction of the eye. So before she was looking down, right? Looking down brings a whole different kind of feeling, because you can imagine body language. It's body language. You can imagine that it feels like maybe she's downcast, right? Like there's something wrong. It implies maybe introspection or sadness, or there's just a lot of things that come with eye position, like looking down. Looking up, well, it has a different connotation. It's the up-down paradigm. One is positive, one potentially is negative. And look, we just did her eyes. But the introduction of eyebrows changes. So without doing anything other than changing her eye positioning, we potentially completely changed the feeling that we would have about her mood. Let's look at that in very subtle, very simple little change, and boom, her mood is now different. It's cool. You could change it again. We can change that feeling that we have of her again by just doing this. Eyebrows. Expressive. Now you might look at her and think there's a sadness and a concern. A little subtle change to the eye position just does so much. Let's do another. I'm going to go back to the happy eyebrows. These ones look a little bit like she's unsure. So you can do a little subtle change even to the mouth. And that changes the story of what maybe she's thinking. Whereas before she was maybe very neutral in her a very neutral facial expression, and you don't know what she's thinking. We've now improved her disposition significantly just by doing these few little things. And now you look at her sitting on the rock. She went from that to that, and in just a few minutes, you've told a whole different story. And so these are things that you need to play out, you need to think about, you need to consider that as you're developing your color palette, your thoughts of what is going to be on her face. It's all under your control. You have the ability to transform the mood, the feeling of any aspect of your painting. So let's tell a different story. Let's see what else we can do with her. So she's sitting here, we have the bright background. Let's get rid of that. Let's think about her sitting on the roof. Okay, same deal. She's sitting here. Let's put her on the roof of a house. It's nighttime. Not putting all the detail into it, don't need to right now. You get the idea though. Changing the coloration on her face. She's sitting in the shadow a little bit, so you probably won't see on the foreground of her face. You're not going to see quite the full intensity of color. So we cool it a little bit because maybe she's facing away from the sun. So let's, and the color, I haven't even really played with coloration on her. But it looks like the sun is coming from behind her. She's maybe facing the other way. And then maybe what she's doing up here, I don't know. Again, storytelling, you're creating a story, but she's up here. And down here. We're gonna put a little cat. Maybe that's why she's up there on the roof. Maybe that's her routine, right? That's her quiet place to get away from everything. And these are the stories that you create though when you're painting. So you did a cool painting of a girl, and that's where you started. But what are the environments that you can put her in? That'll create a story. That'll transform your picture from something that's a good painting of a person, but now is in context of something where you're like, oh, that's cool. Like, she's got a personality. She's more than just a painting now. There's a story being told, and that makes your artwork so much more interesting. So then when you're doing anything, it doesn't matter what you're working on. If you're thinking this in advance, that's going to affect your color choices, because as we saw, mood and feeling is heavily affected by color palette. See, just like that. She's up there. Now she's looking at something, right? She's looking at her little friend sitting on the roof. Choices, decisions about story. It transforms and can completely change the way that you're composing your pictures, and then the feeling that you have after it. I look at this and it's cool to me. I enjoy the fact that I got to develop a little story in just moments, just quick moments. And of course, I could spend forever just now beginning to develop this picture. You know, the colors now have to be figured out. And all of these things, they get better and better and better as you build up your library of experience, knowing how to work with color palettes, knowing how light works. It's exciting. I think this is the best part of art, is that you are a director. I've just told a little story here. So what's the story that you're going to tell in your picture when you have a figure? Seeing an original reference picture is one thing to take a reference picture and just draw it. You should do that 1,000 times. You do it over and over and over and over and work on that skill. But then go and take that reference and put it in an entire different context, in a whole different environment. And you're going to begin to really have freedom to develop unique and original pieces. I hope this is helpful. I hope you can kind of see the impact that environment has on storytelling. Be creative, push yourself, see what you can do. Thanks for watching. I hope you check out more of my videos. If you liked what I did here, please, by all means, hit subscribe. I'm trying to build up my channel, and I would love to be able to share this with more people, and you can help me do that. Thanks so much.